Now we are moving on to our next conversation with Kenny Okolugbo, the Accord Party House of Representatives candidate for Ndokwa Federal Constituency in Delta State. Sorry for that earlier mix-up about being identified as the governorship candidate. Good morning, Kenny. Good to see you.
Morning, Steve. I was happy. You actually promoted me to be a governor's candidate. It's not that.
That was...
Well, you know...
I wish that was true.
Well, you know OG is from your federal constituency,
yes,
Ndokwa. You know, so we were hoping...
But that's not the reason why.
Yeah.
That's not the reason why.
All right, Kenny, let's get down to it because of the short time that we have. You were not declared the winner. What went down on the 25th of February? PDP, I believe, was declared the winner. What affected your chances? Was it the Labour Party incursion, or why are you not satisfied with the result announced by INEC?
Yes, I would agree with you. The Labour Party incursion was a factor. But that wasn't so strong because, like in Obiaruku, where you're speaking to me from, the Board of Trustees, that's the only person we have in Ndokwa. She lost the units to me. I won the unit massively. The President House of Assembly candidate and the chairmanship, former chairman, immediate chairman of the local government, lost his unit to me. In fact, I don't think there was any notable PDP leader that didn't lose his unit to me in Ukwani local government area. But you see, the thing about it was that it was the same factor. You see, the Labour thing was, they reduced the vote of Labour Party presidential candidates, I must tell you the truth. He did more than 341,000 in Delta State. And you don't rig if you're not popular. But what was happening was that the rigging was done in places where people were cowed, not because they were popular. They will say, the presiding officers will tell you they don't have the codes to upload the results. Where they could allocate votes, they allocated votes. And this cash thing was another factor because there was a commissioner from this area that had a lot of cash. And we didn't know where he got cash from because most of us were even paying our agents by transfer. And so people were voting and were collecting 1,500 naira, as low as 1,500 naira for one vote. It was that bad. And, you know, PDP did it shamefully. Shamelessly. And, you know, that's a party I belonged to before now. You know how passionate I was about the PDP. I spoke about this party. I was the only one that stood for this party, apart from Shegu showed me in 2015 when they lost the elections. But you see, what Okowa has done is that a vote of no confidence has been passed on Okowa. Because you see, when I sat with him and there were certain things we discussed, he acted like an emperor during the primaries. And it was a result of being an emperor was what he has gotten by the rejection that he got as a vice presidential candidate and being on the ticket with Atiku. It was actually a shame. And I mean, that's the lowest ebb the governor can get to with what has happened in Delta State. And at the local level, the rigging was what we didn't think was going to go on. I mean, how can you say that the candidate for the PDP is more popular than Okowa and getting over 20,000 votes? I'm already in the tribunal, and these things I'm going to prove. Because if you go to the IREV upload that they have done now, they've uploaded 311 results for the Ndokwa Okwani Federal Constituency. I already have thousands of votes there. This is by INEC, and that was not even given to me on the EC 8D results, which was the returning results. But I can't give you much facts about it because I'm already at the tribunal and I shouldn't give those details because those are the details that we're going to use as evidence at the tribunal.
All right, so you are in the tribunal right now. You just talked about rigging and all of that. Can you share with us in detail what type of proof you have at this moment?
Okay, let me give you an example. Like Uchi, for example. Uchi is in Ndokwa East. Uchi is a very long distance from Abo. You get to Molu first, you get to Akarayi, Umuti before you get to Uchi, before you get to Akarayi, Titi, Akarayi, Obodo. These are areas that are very remote. What they did was that they didn't use beavers in those areas. They didn't even go on incident form because, you know, incident forms have been outlawed. So what they did was they just ticked on the voters register and allocated votes to the candidates. And because there was no strength of resistance, I must confess, from our supporters there who were cowed, they couldn't resist those results that were announced by INEC. Then in areas, urban areas, for example, where they knew that they couldn't allocate the votes, immediately. They did not, because they saw that the results were not uploaded. You know, most of the presiding officers will tell you that they didn't have the codes to upload. That was a lie. By the time we found out that it was a lie, was when they actually got to the area where the results were being put together. And they actually changed figures. Figures were changed. We have the proofs. We have our from ECATA results. ECATA are the results that are given to you at the polling unit. These are results that we are going to present before the tribunal. I'm happy they have the IREV. A lot of the results, they couldn't change in the areas we resisted, but the areas we did not resist were changed. And it's a shame. It's actually a shame what happened on the 25th of February 2023, yes.
Okay, you said that you believe that the Labour Party candidate had more votes than what INEC
he
declared.
Yes, because in Okwani, for example, the electoral officer refused to upload the presidential results. She was compromised. She did not even upload the House of Rep results even before we left. My Director General recovered the Beavers, Evans Ekwebelem. He recovered a Beavers machine from Unit 10 in Ward 9, my area of strength. She refused to accept the results even after the Beavers had been recovered and given to her. She sent me a message telling me, oh, she's happy we recovered her Beavers, but she cancelled that unit. You know, she was completely compromised. I was so disappointed in her. I actually thought she had spent a lot of time with INEC, and I got to meet her before that time because she met all the candidates, and I thought she was going to do what was right. Well, you see, I have a lot of experience in tribunal matters. Steve, I must tell you the truth. I ran in 2003, and I went all the way to the appeal court. And PDP was my party, and I know a lot about it. They know I know a lot about the PDP, and it would be a tall order for them to win this case at the tribunal. The elections will be nullified, and I can assure you to be nullified, because what happened was a sham. There wasn't anything that we could present as results.
Okay.
PDP got
all right,
in the president.
Okay, Kenny, where I was going with that question was, does that mean that what happened on the 25th will be an indication of what might happen for Ken Pella, the Labour Party candidate for the governorship, on Saturday in an election where you have Sheriff from PDP, Omo Agege of APC, and Great Ogboru of ABGA? Can you project into what is likely?
Ken Pella didn't campaign. I'll tell you that what happened on the 25th was a combination of APC, PDP, Accord, and Labour. That was the votes that Obi got. Anybody tell you that APC didn't vote for Obi is lying, or PDP didn't vote for Obi is lying, or Accord didn't vote for PDP is lying. For Labour Party is lying. You know, this was it was a mutual thing that everybody had passed the vote of no confidence on Okowa being the president. I'm saying this because I have no reason not to say, because he was warned about the way he went about acting as an emperor. I've said it again during the primaries of the PDP, being the leader of the party. People have left the party in droves because of him. And Ken Pella didn't campaign. So I don't see how Ken Pella will resonate with Deltans in the coming elections. Sheriff is a friend of mine, I won't deny it. But I told Sheriff, I said, whatever votes you're going to get to be on your honor and on your person, and not because of Senator Ifeanyi Okowa. Ovioma again is resonating with Deltans today because you can't remove the fact that, one, he is the deputy Senate president, and secondly, he has had a lot of experience in terms of having served as an executive assistant to the former governor of the state and has been his secretary to government here. Yes, there have been campaign of calumny against him and against the Sheriff, but they're both front runners. And, you know, wherever the elections is going to go, for Sheriff, he has to distance himself from Okowa. That's the truth. But for Ovioma Agege, he has to maybe up his game in Delta North. But he proved himself because he won the 2 senatorial seats in the Delta South and Delta Central. And that is not a feat that you can sweep under the carpet.
All right. Well, you've talked about these 3 great parties, the Labour Party, the PDP, as well as the APC. What about the governorship candidate for your party? What do you think his chances are? And you've been quoted as saying that the people of Delta have rejected Governor Okowa in droves. I'd love for you to reanalyze that, because a lot of people will disagree with you as well on that.
Nobody can disagree with me. Oji, you must agree that I was one person that was a member of the Presidential Campaign Council before even Dr. Okowa became the governor of Delta State of PDP. I played a very strong role in being one of the leading lights in propagating PDP when the likes of Dino had left the party, when the likes of even their spokesperson, one of their spokesperson was in APC. I was there for the party apart from Shegun Showumi. And I had a close relationship with Okowa's government. I stayed with Okowa for 7 years. I'm not talking about my personal benefit, but I had nothing to show for it. But I didn't care about that because we thought we could support Okowa's government to succeed. But he completely derailed when it got to the time of his second tenure because the way he behaved was like an emperor. I said it again over the party primaries. He decided that he was going to determine who was going to represent Ndokwa, who was going to represent Ndokwa West in the House of Assembly, Ndokwa East in the House of Assembly. Every place he wanted to intervene, and that was why his daughter got the ticket in Ika Northeast. It was interesting seeing his daughter begging Labour to support her for her election. For an Okowa, you should expect that as the chairman of the South-South Governors Forum, Okowa should easily win his election, being on the ticket. Akwebom won their election. Bielsa won their election. Okowa lost woefully by 161,000 votes. And I stand by the fact that I'm telling you that Obi won by more than 341,000 votes in Delta State. A lot of his votes have been discovered that they did not record, and some were even thrown away in the very local government where Okowa comes from, in Ika Northeast. Now, when I analyze PDP and APC, Sheriff has been a probable cat with 9 lives. You remember what he went through during the primaries. He was in court up to the Supreme Court. Recently, he's still been in court, but he survived all those court assaults that have been on him. If you put it in his own perspective, but in every other some other person's perspective, they won't see it an assault. But you also see an Obioma Agege who is going to also profit from Okowa's unpopularity. Because certainly the fact remains that Okowa's rating is very low. I'll tell you recently, the civil servants were given 10,000 naira to go home. All of them got their alerts. It's an open secret to go home for the elections. That has never been done in the history of Delta State. That was to be to maybe influence the voting that would have taken place yesterday if INEC did not postpone that election. But I will tell you, the Delta as it is right now, the PDP is in tatters because there are people that have remained in PDP to destroy the PDP. Not everybody can be like Ken, who left the PDP because I rejected what Okowa did during the primaries. Some would remain there and destroy the PDP internally. But I will still say it here today that if Sheriff wins that election on this coming Saturday, he will have no choice but to distance himself from an Okowa and whatever Okowa had to stand for. But if Ovie wins that election, Ovie will be riding on the popularity of the fact that Deltans see themselves at this point in time as wanting maybe a change in the status quo that has been provided by a regime that has become so unpopular. You can imagine where 161,000 votes is being gotten by PDP in an election. I mean, that was something you will never think of. No matter the popularity of Peter Obi, I use that Akwa Ibom and Bielsa as an example for you. Is it that Peter Obi was not popular in Akwa Ibom? Is it that he wasn't popular in Bielsa? Let me not talk of Rivers, that the elections there were quite controversial.
All right, what shape do you think the next House of Reps will take, given the fact that, yes, APC will still retain majority of the seats, but then we've seen Labour with many seats, PDP too, a few other parties, ABGA, NMPP. What shape do you think that, that House will take, and will that be good for democracy when you have other smaller parties having, a quality representation?
Labour, I thought, should have done better with more than 34 seats. They have 34 seats presently, as declared. There are some results that have not come in because some of the elections are going to be held on the 18th of March. PDP has about 102 seats and APC has 169. Yes, PDP can still play the opposition, but they have to go back and to do a soul searching. I mean, I keep talking about it because that was a party I dedicated so much to. So that was a party I served as a commissioner on there. So I would not forget to at least still be a bit sentimental about them. But they should go back and do a soul searching and ask themselves, where have we gone wrong? Now, the agenda is, first of all, the petroleum industry bill has to be revisited. You remember that the host communities are not giving up to 5% in terms of profit sharing. And that was kicked against. And a whole lot of issues have been kicked about over the PIB. They were looking at the electoral act. There are still so many issues that have to be revisited. And areas that, for example, I'll tell you, in Ndokwa, the University of Agriculture board was supposed to have been passed by was passed by the Senate and the House of Rep, but was never signed into law by the president. And the issue of state policing, when you talk about state policing now, that wasn't settled. When you talk about restructuring, that wasn't settled. When you talk about resource control, that wasn't taken care of. These are germane issues that the APC-led House of Rep must look into, and the speaker who is going to be elected must be strong enough and bold enough not to be teleguided, because the way Nigeria is structured now, the people have spoken and they know that the people would always reject them when they come back to the polls. And INEC needs to be strengthened more, not these sham elections that they gave to us on the 25th of February 2023.
All right. Well, Kenny, before we let you go, I'm glad that you're able to, set that agenda for the upcoming 10th National Assembly at this moment. But I'd like for you to share with us what are the major challenges that you observed during your journey throughout Ukwani, Ndukwa West, Ndukwa East. I believe I saw a bunch of videos of the places that you visited when you were on your campaign trail.
Oh, yes, that's a very critical question. What I did was I made sure I visited every ward and over 100 communities in Ndukwa. And it was sad to go to communities where I had to go by boat for over an hour, like Onya, for example. I was the only House of Rep candidate I visited amongst all of us that were campaigning. And I saw that there were no government presence in most of these places. Like Uchi, for example, the road is a disaster. You will not even believe that belongs to Delta State, or even a local government like Ndukwa is supposed to be an oil-producing local government. I saw the people actually being cowed. They looked at it that they were being ruled by a one-party state in this, and that whatever they did, they had to just, support that party. People were looking at winning their units because of political appointments. And that's how sad it was. They were fighting to see unit results being presented. And I saw the people were actually looking for a way to be freed. And that's why the grace that Peter Obi had is a very uncommon grace. Because amongst these people, you still see those who will say, look, no matter whatever it was going to take, we will support Labour Party. And, it still touched me that in all these areas I went to, even in Ndukwa West, which was not as bad as Ndukwa East, in Ukwani, the people really desire for a change. They don't have lights, they don't have water. Some of their schools do not even have tables and chairs. They don't even have market for where they can trade. And I saw a lot of neglect by the federal government, which is one of the things that actually have inspired me all the while to say that I need to give a voice to the people. If I've given a voice to PDP in the national, I can give a voice to the Ndukwa Ukwani Federal Constituency, where I come from, and where I actually served as their representative and as a commissioner in Desopadek. That was a touching story for me everywhere I went to.
Well, all right, Kenny, thank you very much for joining us on the morning show this morning. And I guess we wish you good luck at your tribunal.